If you ever do engineering, you'll know that engineering is really just like a group effort. There's always a hierarchy in engineering classes. There's the kids who will sit in the front. These are very studious kids. These are like the top of their classes in high school. They're like, you could say nerds, but I mean, to the engineering classes, all fucking nerds to begin with. But within the nerds, these are the ones who sit at the front. They ask the questions. They engage the profs. They love what in my mind, looking back, these are probably the only passionate kids, the only kids who should have been doing that degree to begin with. They're in the front. And then there's a whole subsection who's in the back and in the middle. And there's a lot of groups. Like in any engineering class, there's groups. And what I've noticed, funny enough, at Waterloo, the Koreans, in every engineering class, there's always a group of Koreans. Koreans specifically are close-knit. Ask any of the Waterloo people. Koreans, tight group, hitting cigarettes between every lecture. Like, I don't know what the fuck is happening right now with COVID, but this has been always the case for all the years that I've ever seen. And the Koreans would get answers from the upper year Koreans, too. Like, Koreans have an amazing network in these universities that, you know, a lot of people should tap into. That was actually my job later on, like third, fourth year. My role was to infiltrate the Koreans, so to speak, and get their, because they had all these upper year like assignment answers and shit like that they'd only like share amongst themselves. And I'd go in and grease them up a little bit, be like, look, our guy's doing this. Go back to the groups. Within the groups, there's always people. Let's say an engineering class is 100 people. And it has a couple groups. Within each group, it's like a self-sufficient little like tribe. There's people within that group who go to the classes. And then there's people within that group who take notes. And then there's people in that group who don't go to the classes or take notes, but they'll go find those people that took the notes and they'll scan them all and put them on Dropbox. And then there's people in the group who won't go to classes, who won't scan the notes, but they will summarize all the notes they find online. And then there's people at the bottom of the totem pole, just bottom feeders, parasites, like myself and a couple other my friends. Every engineering class will have this. They go to the Dropbox before like a midterm or whatever. Not only are there all the notes there, not only are all the annotations there and summary notes, dude, people like me would just go in and grab 2 or 3 people's fully summarized notes and just fucking memorize that shit, because 80% of it's the same and 20% is different. And that's how you pass engineering across the board. This is for an unpassionate person that was never meant to be in it to begin with. This is how across the board I've seen people do it. Even people, because so many people who get into engineering just be like, engineering. Like, so many people I know that's like, it's just it's a safe bet. But once you graduate, you see what it is. At the University of Waterloo, specifically, it's a co-op program. So you do co-ops. You're supposed to go intern here and there and get this experience. So at the end, you come out with experience, right? Because if you ever hit the job market as a new grad, there's the bullshit fucking double standard of being like, it's an entry-level job, but they'll be like, they need 5 years experience. Like, what the fuck? How am I going to have that? So Waterloo's, the idea is that it's supposed to help with that. In reality, it was just breaks, It was like academic breaks and work terms. Work terms were really just the time you were working, getting guap, trying to pay it towards your fucking huge fees. Thank God I'm not an international student. They just pay double what everybody else pays. But I did a bunch of co-ops at Waterloo. I did one at an R&D lab that did research into tire formulations. So like car tires, they have no bladder. Like a car tire, like your bike tire has a bladder, that thing inside you fill with air. Car tires don't have it. They're bladderless. So they pretty much go around a rim and then you pressurize it inside and then it sticks up against the rim. Now the way the air doesn't leave the tire is because inside there's a type of rubber on the inside of the tire called butyl rubber. Now butyl is super impermeable to air. And for 8 months, I did a research on trying to make it more impermeable using nanotechnology. In reality, I just fucking showed up 9 to 5 and I didn't care. Dude, 8 months I was there just trying to get by. I think I told the story one time, but in that co-op, I had a one-on-one meeting with my boss and I fell asleep One-on-one, looking at this guy. I woke up, he was just like, really? I'm like, I'm so sorry. For those 8 months, my actual position in that this fucking company called Lanxess or something, I forgot if it was years ago, was scientist. I went to TD to open up a bank, and they're like, what's your job? And I was like, scientist. Until this day, one of my buddies at TD sees that shit, and he's like, Mr. Scientist over here, you missed your... I'm like, fuck off, dude. But yeah, did that. Did a co-op at a tobacco plant, which was so... I did health and safety at a tobacco plant, which is the most ironic shit ever. This was the weirdest job. Another 8 months at Rothmans, Benson, and Hedges. Just being like... Imagine working at a tobacco plant and your job is to make sure people wear reflective vests in the warehouse, and you got big... Like, you know, when you go into a convenience store, they have those dome mirrors, so the fucking Korean dude behind the counter knows the black people, can watch the black people from all angles, you know? Those same mirrors, they put those in warehouses, so like when a forklift is coming, you can see different angles. That was my job, health and safety corps. I was doing that in a plant that made millions of cigarettes. There's no talk of fucking cancer. There's no talk of anything else. There's just like, yo, make sure there's a dotted yellow line on the walkway so people know which way to walk. It's like, that's the weekly clip. Yo, that's the clip for the week. If you want to get access to full weekly bonus episodes, go to patreon.com/the Immigrant Section and become a certified refugee. Support this basement show. Support the poster budget, all right? I'm not going to stop doing it. Becoming a patron essentially just helps me grow the quality of it, okay? So until then, expect more. I'm not going to stop. They want to silence us, but I'm not going to be quiet, all right? The only time we're quiet is at the border, all right? Besides that, we're going to keep going, all right? Until then, appreciate y'all. Peace!